I just wish to say ahead of time, if the camera color keeps flickering back and forth, the camera's not working right anymore. This is a 2012 camera. I bought it like on eBay for 120 bucks. It is pretty much, I think it's near end of life. Either I got to get it fixed or I just got to get rid of it. So I'm sorry if I flicker back and forth in color. I've done all I can to try and fix it. So let's get into this Raw. When it comes down to it, this Raw felt like the WWE thought, oh my gosh, WrestleMania is not looking good. We got to do whatever it takes. Let's throw everything at it right now. They threw so much content out, and much of it was filler, that it felt messy. It didn't feel like a very good show. It didn't feel like it was an important show. It didn't feel like it was a great show. Yeah, there was things on it that were not that bad. But let's be honest here. It just felt like they were trying so hard. They overdid it and it just didn't feel right. Okay, opening the show. We got Kurt coming out. And then he says Brock Lesnar is going to be late. But guess what? Roman Reigns shows up. And this is the thing that gets me. Look, you're trying to sell the point that this guy got suspended. Why in the hell is he coming out in his work clothes? Why is he coming out in his wrestling clothes instead of coming out just like a regular guy wearing jeans, wearing sneakers, wearing a regular shirt, not his Roman Reigns shit? If you're going to try and sell Roman Reigns being important, he should be dressed as a regular guy. And then he says, you know what, I have the right to be here. I don't give a damn or a fuck anybody feels. Get Brock Lesnar out here. I'm not leaving my ring until then. And then Kurt says, you know what, guess what? We're prepared for you. And what do we get? We got 3 U.S. Marshals who don't even put... This is the thing. They want to try and make believe U.S. Marshals are coming to take him away. Cool. But have them do it the right way. Why do you have to handcuff him in the front? All officers handcuff you in the back, behind your back. It would have been better that way. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, how is he going to be able to fight off the Marshals? I'm not saying he's supposed to fight off the Marshals. This was about Brock Lesnar's coming... Calm down. Brock Lesnar coming out and destroying him is the main focus. It wasn't the point that he had the right to be able to take out 3 Marshals. In actuality, by doing that, they could have tased his ass. And I kind of wish they had fake pepper sprayed him. That would have been interesting. And then Brock Lesnar coming out to kick his ass would have been more better. If he had gotten the handcuff behind the back, and then by him struggling, they had fake pepper spray him. They could have just had one of those little fake pepper spray things, spray him in the face. It just could have water in it. And that would have knocked him down. And then Brock could have came out and destroyed him. That would have made it more realistic. If you're going to have Marshals, U.S. Marshals for that matter, it would have been more realistic and it would have been more special. But this is what we get. Hey, it's what we got. Sasha Banks and Bayley going up against Absolution. There's only one reason I'm saying this. It's because they're being very wishy-washy when it comes to Bayley and it comes to Sasha Banks. Sasha wants to be friends with Bayley. Then Sasha acts stupid to Bayley. Then Bayley acts stupid to Sasha. But then she's on Sasha's side again. And they gotta stop being wishy-washy. You should have just gotten this over with, that Sasha turned heel or Bayley turned heel, and we go from there. That would have been better. But no, you're dragging it out. And I gotta say this about Brandy Rhodes. I love her. She's one of the most beautiful women on that roster of Raw. And don't get me wrong, I love me Mickie James. I'm going to be talking about Mickie James, and I'm going to talk about Alexa in a minute. But she is a sublimely beautiful woman that if I was even given the time of day, I would have no reason to look at any other woman. Not just because she has a great tits and ass, but she just gives off a personality I kind of like. In real life, what I understand, she's a very sweet person. And that's the type of personality I kind of want. But in the end, it really didn't matter about the match, even though Absolution won. This is still about Bayley and Sasha still not being on supposedly what was it? Either the coach or it was Corey that said it. They're both now on the same page. And you guys tell me below. I haven't said this at all. But why in the blue hell did Corey Graves dye his hair blonde? He looked better without the blonde shit. He just looks stupid. Coach is coach. And I don't even need to say anything about Michael Cole because he needs to retire. He just does. Go and do web content. Don't be on Raw. That's just how I feel. Anyway, next thing. Braun Strowman going up against Cesaro. Braun Strowman cutting a promo that wasn't too bad against Cesaro and Sheamus. And that little sign of them talking, we work together, we travel together, we eat together, we sleep together. And everyone's going like, oh, really? And they said, grow up. We sleep in the same room. We have shared different sets of beds. This is how good we are as a tag team. You will not beat us. And Braun Strowman pretty much saying, well, before he destroys the Cesaro, before he escapes, I'm getting myself a partner and I'm going against Cesaro or whoever. And pretty much Sheamus screws over Cesaro. Wasn't that bad. The match is not the issue here. The thing is that we want to know who the Braun Strowman is going to pick. I thought maybe it might have been Kane. It might have been... Who would be best for him? Mark Henry? Kane? Someone that could rival him in size. Not someone who's small and insignificant. That's the type of feeling I had. Unless it's maybe a Chris coming back, Chris Jericho. It just doesn't feel like it's important. But I don't know. Now, let's go to the women. Let's do Asuka. Let's do Alexa. And let's do Mickie James. Oh, Mickie James looks so freaking hot. You guys tell me below, what is Mickie James' breast size? Now, I know that sounds sexist. I've always wanted to know what her size is because, simply put, it's always hard to gauge how a person dresses in the ring because the way things go for women who are heavy-chested in wrestling, they always have to wear a minimizer. When they wear a minimizer, a lot of times they wear clothes that are way too tight for them. And it can throw off their personality. It can throw off their character. I know there's a lot of people say bullshit. No, it's true. You got to know what type of clothes to wear when you're in the ring. If you're a small-chested woman, you sometimes have to emphasize what you have. That's what's going on with Sasha Banks. That's what's going on with Alexa Bliss. And I was just wondering about the Mickie James. As far as I know, she's not a heavy-chested woman, but she's not small either. So, anyway. Was the segment they had good? It was alright. But here's the problem. Taking away from the match, when it came to her and Asuka, it's not the point the match went the way it was. This is about Alexa dealing with Nia Jax. Nia Jax, at this moment, is a freaking joke. Excuse me. If anyone enjoys Nia Jax's I think best thing you could say is like a face turn. You're supposed to have sympathy for her because she's a big woman that's always been treated bad. What is the problem with this? Look, Nia Jax is supposed to be a monster. I've said this before. Nia Jax should have already had the title at least once. She should have had the NXT title before she left, and she should have had this title well before WrestleMania, and she should be going up against Asuka at WrestleMania. She should be. It makes perfect sense. You got Goliath female versus David female. It would have been a beautiful story. But no. You go down this route with Nia Jax, who has been treated like garbage, who is not a credible threat to anyone. And then you decide to turn her face and make her have the most terrible sympathy feelings by anyone. Oh, we have to feel like this because she got picked on because she was big. Really? Really? You're going down that route. Particularly that they're doing Women's Month and they want to show empowerment, and Nia Jax should be a dominant monster and she's being treated like she's a pitiful woman that was always picked on as a little kid. And Alexa Bliss, who's not even as big as her, she could be a little daughter to her, is a big ass bully. Are you serious about this story, including it as a storyline during Women's Month? It's so stupid. I believe in women having equality, to be considered a person, not a woman, a person. Just like black people should be considered a person, not a black person. And I can say black person and I can say person because I'm part black. I know what it's like to have being treated with racism, particularly by my own race. One of my own races of being black and Spanish. They don't see it. This is about being seen as a person. And Nia Jax is being considered like a picked on, oversized woman by a picker of a small little runt in Alexa Bliss. It's ridiculous. And now we move on. One thing I did like, I was so happy. Mark Henry's going into the Hall of Fame. Yes! I am so happy about this. Mark Henry, sexual chocolate himself, going through the Nation of Domination. I managed to see some of the Nation of Domination back in the 90s. Unfortunately, I was working so much. And my wife at the time didn't like wrestling at all. I barely saw the product. Whenever I did see it, one of the few things I saw, along with WCW a few times, I saw a couple of times the NWO. I saw a little bit of Diamond Dallas Page, and I saw a little bit of the Nation of Domination with Sexual Chocolate and a Mark Henry with Farouk. Those were the two people I liked. And in the end, what we have here is a man who's worked 20 years in the business, who has been respected in the business, and the worst thing about his run is that he only managed to get the world title once. They had a huge jump in sales, merch, and interest, and they never went anywhere with him. They never let him go to the WWE Heavyweight Championship. And that is such a freaking shame because he represented the title of the World Championship very well. And that makes me angry that he's going into Hall of Fame before even getting a WWE Championship run. Now, maybe they're going to give him a championship run after this. Maybe this might be his last year, and maybe someone will say, you know what, Mark? We're going to give you a gift. Well, I know it's not going to happen, but we're going to let you have another run at the Universal title, which is not the important title. The WWE title is the important title right now. We know this. So, I doubt he's going to get anywhere other than the Universal title, which is considered the mid-card title anyway. But still, I am happy that Mark Henry, he's my boy. I love Mark Henry. I always loved his attitude. I always loved his personality as the Silverback, the Sexual Chocolate, and the Hall of Pain. Now, let's move on to, if I can remember anything. Let's move on to what happened with The Miz. I am not enjoying the situation with The Miz. He just isn't getting any respect. Well, he's a heel. He's never going to get 100% respect. But seeing he's going up against Seth Rollins and Finn Balor at WrestleMania, it doesn't really feel like it's important for him. They really haven't hyped him up that well. And it feels a little empty to me personally. I wish it was a little bit more than that. Now, I could talk about other stuff. Excuse me. But I'm kind of going to shorten this up a little bit because there's no point to keep going through all the very many things that happen on the show. We got the John Cena segment. John Cena having his segment. Trying to coax The Undertaker. I'll say this. I'm not a big John Cena fan when it comes to his promos. But I will say it was effective. People did begin to cheer very loudly for The Undertaker. People cheered very loud to know what is the decision. And saying The Undertaker is a punk ass bitch for not giving a yes or no answer was actually good. Good enough to get over. Knowing that there's no answer yet. Of course, they're going to probably wait until the last week, which is stupid. The Undertaker should be here already. He should already be dealing with John Cena directly. Instead of waiting until the last minute, you should have already started this 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, this should have started. Why are you waiting to the end? Anyway, Kane comes out. And then instead of giving an answer, he chokeslammed him. Now, the commentary team, which I still think they suck, as they stand, you wonder, would they pull a fast one on us instead of having the Undertaker and Cena, they'll have Undertaker and Kane. That's what they're trying to imply. We still believe, and there's a very good chance, it's still going to be Cena and Taker. The question is, how long would it be before they show Taker? I still believe that it'll be at the last week before WrestleMania, which is wrong. It should have happened 2 weeks ago. It's a little too late for it now. You need to show him now. Show him on SmackDown. Let John Cena go to SmackDown and get destroyed on SmackDown. That's the best thing to do it now. Do not wait the last week before WrestleMania before The Undertaker shows up. Don't wait until the second to the last week to show The Undertaker. Do it on SmackDown. That's his show. It's the best place to do it. That's just how I feel about it. Send John Cena over there. Let him get destroyed by Taker. Let the Taker be seen. That's it. Now, I can't remember what happened at the end of the show. I think that was Revival versus Titus Worldwide, so I'm not going to talk about that. If I'm forgetting anything major, I'm sorry. There was a lot of content. Like I said, too much content thrown at us at once, and it was almost impossible to keep up with all of it. So the last thing I'm talking about was Final Deletion. Well, actually, no. The Apocalypto. No. Neither one of them. We have Ultimate Deletion, which wasn't as great as Final Deletion and Apocalypto. It didn't feel as good. Now, mind you, I was happy as hell to see the Hardy compound, seeing Mr. Benjamin, seeing the wifey, seeing the two children, Wolfgang and the Maxwell. Yeah, see, Vanguard 1 is still my most favorite thing about the Hardy Broken gimmick. It is just adorable, man. And that sounds weird by a guy saying this by a RC quadcopter, but he's so cool. I just love him to death. I do. And in the end, seeing all of that, seeing the Lake of Reincarnation, seeing the Dome of Deletion, and something about when they were having to fight near what looked a lot like Bray Wyatt's home, and Matt was trying to play to that, and they showed a lot of scenes of it, was not that bad. I'm not saying that the entire thing was garbage, but it just didn't have the same feel. It may be because of the terrible build for both of them. Look, when it really comes down to, and you can say a lot about Matt Hardy sometimes not always getting it right, or Bray Wyatt definitely not getting it right. If they had booked them both properly, they would have gotten it right. The Eater Worlds going up against the Deities was going to be great. Going up against Matt Hardy, the Broken One, was going to be great. But the build for them is so bad. I really believe that was the major issue. That they didn't build Matt very well at all. They gave him one time that he did so good, and then they gave him terrible promo time, and then he got beaten not just once by Bray, not just twice by Bray, sorry for the noise, 3 times by Bray, and only won once, and then they have to do now the Ultimate Deletion to make it right, which now evens it out, supposedly. Neither one of them exactly has beaten the other. It's now 3-3, if I'm keeping count properly. And when you see this, and you've probably been seeing scenes of it that I managed to take from the feed, it wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad. Seeing the fighting in the first ring, and then some of it going into the second, a little bit in the second ring, walking around the compound. I think they could have done a little bit more in the compound. Going to the Lake of Reincarnation, seeing that Vanguard 1 try to protect its master. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a shot of that. Bray Wyatt holding Vanguard 1. I tried to, but I couldn't get the shot. It was good. Then seeing Mr. Benjamin throwing the ball at Bray Wyatt, the whole world in his hand, seeing that Jeff Hardy showed up as Brother Nero with the eyes glazed out. That was the best thing I thought at the end. And then going to the Lake of Reincarnation and now disappearing. Now the thing is, we're going to get Bray back to the same way he was, and when it continued, this is going to be the question. I don't know. But the problem was for me personally that there was something missing. It just didn't feel as good as Final Deletion and Apocalypto. It just didn't feel right. There was something missing. I feel like it was because their build into Ultimate Deletion was so bad. But this is just my point of view. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.